Hi all, back again, doing a bit of an update on a little bit of progress from when I was waiting for some hinges, which have now come for this little wagon. That's the hinges in there, very neat. So they make up a very nifty little hinge. Happy with them. Owl castings if you want any bespoke stuff, no matter how small it is. I've got a door on there and I'm finishing this side now, so we're well on the way. Right, the class 2. Where was we up to last time? It was on about wheel castings and laser cut parts and things like that, and the hook that I've fitted in and stuff and what needed fettling. So we'll kick off tonight with the first part. So I was talking to you about angle and where it's going to be 3/4 down to 3/8. So I've done that off cut. So it's 3/8 there, look, and 3/4 there. You see the profile of it that way. There. So, and I've done that because it's going to fit into onto the sides, and I've done the offcut first because I'm doing these brackets. And there's the first one. I showed a picture of this one not long after I did it, so you can see the rivet detail in the bottom. This is the one of the cutout ones. Look, you can see there. So the rivet detail on the underside, flush on the top. So they had a countersink and then hammered up the rivet into that countersink. This is still to be drilled here because I'll clamp that to the frames and then transfer the holes through the frames into that. So that's one of those done. Only 7 more of them to go. But engines never built fast, and especially if you want to put loads of detail into it. The other thing I've been working on, that's that part there. Now this is a offcut there, 5/8 diameter hole in there. This is going to be the bumper. Now the one that's drawn on the Dick Stockings drawings isn't as per full size, and neither is this plate here. This has still got to be tickled up and emeryed and stuff, ready for painting. This plate, it's shown as square, which you could essentially machine the whole lot out of I think they're 1.5 inch square or 1 inch square, and then it's turned down there. These, I've done them as per full size, so they've got this more rectangular plate on the front. Then this is going to be a bumper when it goes in the lathe, and I've got to basically eat away at this part here to give the correct profile for the front of the bumper. I'll put a spring in there just because. There's a hole straight through the back, and then there'll be a rod that goes up and a nut on the back here, and that'll be threaded in that end, and then that'll hold everything in place, ready for them to be bolted on. Now, let you into a little thing here. I cocked up on this part, which is part the front drag beam, but I'm not going to scrap this, and all I'm going to do is redo my drawing. And where I cocked up is where this plate bolts onto. This has been drawn about 4 or 5 times, and what I didn't do is when I drew that plate, I didn't take the dimensions of those 6 holes there. So there's 3 in the top there and 3 in the bottom. I didn't transfer those onto the new drawing of that. So what I'm going to do on mine, where they don't marry up, the holes that are there, I'm going to countersink this plate both sides and fill them up with a rivet so that they'll be flush. Pop that on square, they're drilled at tapping size at the moment, so I'll drill those through into this drag beam, and then I can get the right position of that. I don't know how I've done it. It's probably because I overlay that many drawings one on top of the other, and like I say, I've drawn that part, oh, I've forgotten how many times, to get the shape of it right. And it was the third time of drawing it. I was going off a works drawing, so I put out all the dimensions in for the holes and forgot about that bit. Oh, there goes the spring. I forgot about that bit in there. So, you know, cock-ups can be made, and it's all a learning process. So yeah, I'll transfer those through, and then that'll be the first bumper that goes on there. I'm working on that at the minute, just as I'm like in between paint coats on this wagon at the moment, because the thing is with this wagon, because it's a dark colour and I'm doing white lettering at the moment, it takes a lot of white paint to cover up the dark blue. So I can get I can jump onto the class 2 and do a little bit, and then jump back onto painting, and then jump back onto something else. The other thing I've got as well now, I've got a finished, well, almost finished buffer stock for the back. I've got to put the slot in yet, and then I've got the backing plate ready. I've already drilled the buffer stock to suit, so if we get a bit closer to the buffer stock, you can see there is drilled. That fits over that, and it's to represent the backing plates that were on these stocks when they're as per full size. These have a little slot in the bottom and a grub screw that goes into the shank of the buffer. And then it contains a spring inside, so it's all self-contained, whereas full size it's a bit more complex than that. But they had this backing plate that went on, so I've had Ed at Model Engineers laser cut me some of those, so that'll go on there first, and then that's sandwiched into the frames. The one thing I haven't done, and this was in haste of getting the drawing away, I haven't radiused these corners to suit the radius on the buffer stock there, look. So it's square cornered at the moment. But what I'll do is, once that's drilled through at clearance, once I've done the tapping holes in the rear buffer beam, what I'll do is I'll open them up to clearance, I'll put a bolt through each 4 hole, and then I'll just tickle them with a file to marry those up on there, so it'll look as it should. So that's that bit done as well. The other thing as well that I've managed to do, and this was literally a 5-minute job, and just make sure I've got everything as it should be, so I can lift these up, lift the frames up. Look at the bottom, I've got the 2 guard irons bent up, lifeguards, guard irons, however you want to say it. I've got those bent up and temporary bolted into position, you can see there. So it's looking quite neat at the back now. I've left the steam heat off. In fact, it's probably fallen off and I've been moving stuff about. So that's where we're up to with that. I've managed to clear a job out of my milling machine so I can get on with some other parts, and then the next job, they're wagon parts that I need to mill. So once that's done, I've received the other 2 sticks of those. There, look. So I've got the full set now for the wagon for them. So that's the job for the mill for those. And as I say, I've still got to get the correct detail in them to make sure everything's as it should be. It's a mass of parts for this engine now, so once this wagon's out of the way, I can kind of not spread stuff out a bit. I don't really want to spread stuff out a bit because I end up losing stuff, because I don't keep a tidy workshop. I just have stuff here, there and everywhere, The other thing that you couldn't see last time in the last video was those. You can see there's a bit of flashing in there from the casting. That is the 10 spoke tender wheels ready for machining. Yeah, so they're nice bit of cast iron. Don't look to be they're sand cast. They don't look to be have any issues with them that I can see. So they're a lathe job, or the first lathe job to get in there. What else have I got to show you? That's about it, I think. Oh no, there was something else I received from Model Engineers Laser from a hasty drawing. And this is all to do with that smoke box wrapper that I was doing. And then what I've done is I've had the door, smoke box door ring laser cut. Now at the minute, I think it's about 8mm thick I had it cut out. Now you can buy a casting for the smoke box door ring. I've had it laser cut because there's a change I want to make to it, to the original drawing or how it was drawn by Dick Stockings. I'm changing it as like I've changed everything on this engine. And yes, I'm nowhere near needing that yet, but it was on my mind at the time. I wanted a big lump of steel because I've got that wrapper. I can roll the wrapper and get the centre to the not the centre. I can get the wrapper rolled so that the two ends touch, and this will then give me a guide on its diameter. There's also as well that I've had done from Ed, and that's the other end of the smoke box. So that's the tube plate end of the boiler barrel. In the rear of the smoke box, so that'll be the two rings either end of the smoke box. And again, it's to do with that wrapper, just to see if I'm getting in the right place with it when it comes to rolling it. I haven't tried rolling it yet because I know it's going to be a bit of a task, because the set of rolls I've got, they're not the best rolls, to be honest. I bought them in a bit of a rush many moons ago. So yes, I've used them to success with my dad's engine with rolling the lagging, the outer part of the boiler barrel. I managed to do it on that quite well. This being a thicker steel, it'll struggle with it quite a bit. So yeah, so that's where we're up to at the minute. As I say, it's quite a short update, but I'm conscious of putting these videos out. And I'm getting good feedback, and people are saying, oh, you're really glad that your YouTube's channel's back up and running, which I really appreciate that. And I want to kind of keep momentum a little bit, and I know this wagon is taking up all my time at the moment, or any spare time that I get. So doing these videos is, again, it's a bit of a jump in the workshop, do a bit of work so that you guys can see what I'm doing, but also getting cracking with this wagon, to get this wagon finished off, getting the old Humbrol paints out and getting some more white paint on. And as you can imagine, when there's a lot of sign writing, it's a lot of letters and it's a lot of white paint. I'm now waiting on another little pot of white paint for it. So that is where we're up to at the moment. I don't think I've got anything else left to show you for the tender. Hopefully I'll have those bumpers done. What I want to do as well is I want to kind of start getting all the front drag beam into shape. So hopefully my next video I'll have that into, like, all the tabs, have it all slotted together into the actual shape of the drag beam, so you get a better idea of what it's all about and what it's going to look like. Yeah, so quite a bit of progress, not a lot of progress, depends how you want to look at it. I think there's quite a lot of progress in a very short space of time, for the simple reason I have been out at all hours doing work, my normal day job work, and sleeping at silly hours and stuff like that. So when it comes to doing a bit of workshop work, I kind of rush in, have an hour or two, and then dash back out again. So, but thanks for the good comments, and hopefully we can keep a bit of momentum on it and give you some more updates as we go. One thing before I go though, I ordered, like I was saying last time in the last video about engine frame drawings. I had a reply back from the NRM saying the person that does them isn't there anymore. The one who does the copying and copying service isn't there anymore. When they allocate a new person to do the job, then they're gonna basically process all the backlog of orders, and mine is in that backlog of orders. So until that comes through, I can't really finish any of the drawings off, which is kind of a good job, because I'm at that stage where I can get some drawing done and work things out as I need to. I think I'm kind of in the right spot anyway with the engine frames. Certainly shape wise, it's just the part that the cab would sit on I know is drawn incorrectly as the originally published drawings, and I want it to be more like full size. And I know, again, what's the point when you're going to have a cab on top of it, you're not going to see it. Devil's in the detail for me, and I want it to be as per full size. You know, so some things you have to sacrifice to get it right, and some things, for me, it'll niggle at me that I've preached on about as per full size and not done anything about it. So anyway, I digress and I waffle on as usual. Thanks very much for the comments. Like and subscribe, share it if you will, and we'll see you on the next one.